But you know what, man? To go back to what you just said, sometimes a lot of people, man, pride gets in the way of a lot of things, man. And pride can be toxic. Pride can, and I trust me, I done had to put my pride to the side a few times, but it took a long time for me to be able to put my pride to the side for a short moment, for a conversation, man. It's crazy because years it'll be toxic until you sit back and have a 5-10 minute conversation, and before you know it, everything is resolved.
I'll tell you a real life story, and I'll make this super brief. Because it's all about accountability. When we are prideful and narcissistic, self-served and all that, I think it's very important that we realize, like, we need to do our own self-reflection to realize maybe we were that toxic person in that moment. I had a situation where me and my ex-wife was going to go somewhere, and we went to a store, Dimple Records on Broadway or something, and I can go into this another time. But I get to this place, man, and it was crazy how God reached out to me in a form of going to if y'all don't know what Dimple Records is, it's like you get movies, records, and all that kind of stuff there for a cheap price, right?
Old school blockbuster.
So I go to Dimple's with her. I'm on one side of the store, she on another side, and I hear my name called. So I'm next to a dude, he say Kendrick Lamar. And I say, for whatever reason, it perked my ear. I heard Kendrick. So I looked over at him, didn't think nothing of it. I'm looking for some gospel CDs. I'm in that section. They used to have these, like, this is white. They used to have these white slips, the dividers.
Yeah.
I looked down and it say K Still on it. I said, nah, I'm tripping, right? It goes to what we were saying. I look up a couple more, it say KD Still. Bruh. Yeah. Then I look up in the last one, all the way at the top of the shelf, it said Ken Steph. I said, this ain't me.
Yeah.
Right? And I pulled the slip up. This made me do a 180 on some real talk. It said, I pulled it up and I called the ex over and she said, babe, what's this? I pulled it up and on the back, I flipped it over. It said, pride comes before the fall. Oh, yeah. It said, cold dead hands, right? I said, oh, I ain't finna die on no pride. And I know what the pride was, part of it. I didn't know at that very moment, but I went in the car, we prayed about it, we talked to God about it, and was like, all right, what is something that I've been prideful for? And one of the things I was being prideful for, on some real talk, was I was drinking a gang of energy drinks because I'm a trucker by trade. Yeah. And sometimes doing too many of those energy drinks was messing with my vision at night. It was the weirdest stuff. So anyways, it was pride. And if I didn't humble myself, it could have led down the road of diabetes. It could have led down the road of anything, man, on some real talk.
You can lose people, man. Pride to have you losing a bunch of people that the situation could easily be resolved, man. But that pride will kill you.
What happens when the person that you don't want to be toxic with, the situation is toxic, but the person is still pressing? Say they show up to your house. They still want to interact. You like, nah, bro.
You know what, man? And see, that's the thing, man. And that can definitely, we can talk about this all day, man. But in each situation, I see things two different ways, man. So for one, depending on who it is, let's sit down and holler. Right. But also, depending on who it is and what it is that we got an issue about, it ain't no holler. Right. You know, so it's either leave me alone or it goes beyond that. You know, and beyond that, man, I mean, that can go a lot of different ways, you know, and it's not always a good way. So when it comes down to those kind of situations, man, for me personally, it all depends on the person. If I got enough love or respect for you to actually sit down, listen to what you're saying, and vice versa, then we can holler. But if not, I'm going to just throw you the two fingers up, man, before them two fingers turn into a fist, you know?
Real talk.
And that's, and there we go.
I've been in some situations where I literally just had to close my mouth and walk away.
I have to.
But I had to keep my eye on the person because I realized that person was seeing red in the moment because they couldn't be mature enough to say, look, let's just talk.
Mature means
to me, I look at consequences. I got kids. I got a future just like they do. We got responsibilities and there's consequences for our actions. So for me, I'd rather just distance myself. I'd rather block you. I don't have to entertain. That's the one thing I've learned about toxic people. One, they can't see themselves as the toxic one. And number two, which I think is crazy, number two would be they justify their behavior.
Oh yeah.
As if it's the right thing to do. Like, it's easy for them to deflect, right? Yeah. They can't admit it, take accountability, and when they do, it's probably half true.
Yeah.
Right? And I think certain things with toxic people, man, at the end of the day, you have a choice if you're going to entertain that or not.
Yeah. Oh, guaranteed.
You have a choice.
Guarantee. And that's why I always say, we can either leave it alone or we can talk about it. That's it. And especially if we ain't in no kind of relationship, I catch up with you when I catch up with you, man. And it is what it is. You know?
That's good biz. Listen, like and subscribe. It's your boy, Ken Steph.
Black Ray, Melanated Rhythm.
Man, hey, y'all need to leave them toxic situations alone. And if you're a toxic person, get some help, player. We'll holler, Melanated Rhythm.